Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. Unfortunately, today has just been another crushing blow to fragile investors. Man, I'll tell you what, this crypto thing, holding XRP or hell, pick your coin, it's just a rough ride, isn't it? Isn't it just a rough ride? Well, I'll tell you what, I've got a couple things to say about volatility in general, which I'm going to talk about a little bit later in this video. But in terms of the price action that we've seen, and what to expect moving forward. It's just been fascinating. There are so many people that are emotionally capitulating. It seems to be just accepted at this point. Things are bad. Oh my God, doom and gloom for Bitcoin, this and that. And I don't know for sure if Bitcoin's in a bear market. I know the blockchain backer is highly confident. Others, not so much. I don't pretend to know for sure, but I'm noticing, regardless of that, I guess a tremendous sentiment shift. And it's also, but see, it's not solely your typical retail speculators. I'm watching the bigger names out there, and I'll keep naming names as this continues to unfold, assuming things that continue to unfold this way. But even here we have this article from the Daily Hodl. I'm going to talk about this one also towards the tail end of the video, but here's the headline. This year could be a little rocky for Bitcoin, according to Morgan Creek's Mark Yusko. Here's why. And I'm a fan of Mark, by the way. He's one of the founders, along with Anthony Pompliano, of Morgan Creek Capital Management. And I've always appreciated his takes on various crypto-related topics. I think he's an incredibly sharp guy. But he does seem to be on the bandwagon of, bear market for Bitcoin now, which is interesting. So, because he doesn't say stuff like that terribly lightly. He also doesn't think necessarily it's the end of the world, and I sure as hell don't either. I think for people that have a sufficiently long time horizon in mind when it comes to investing, those people, you can weather the storms of the downturns. It's the emotional people that don't know what the hell they're doing, but see price go down and then sell. But plenty to talk about. But before going further, I do want to be clear that I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. I'd like to start out the video with a little bit of laughy laugh opportunity. There's a cartoon on your screen. Some of you may have already read it, but maybe you're driving, in which case I will just describe it for you. Get eyes off the screen. Hands on the wheel at 10 and 2, motorist, lest you become crashed into an animal like a fish. Ain't nobody got no goddamn time for that. So there's Bart Simpson. There's two frames. And in the top one, there's Bart Simpson looking very concerned, very upset. And he is labeled as Crypto Class of 2021. And he says, my portfolio is down 25%. But then in the next frame, Bart looking very sad, he's comforted by his father Homer. His father Homer, smiling, comes into the frame. Homer is labeled as Crypto Class of 2017, and he says the following. Your portfolio is down by 25% so far. Because yes, indeed, it can get much, much worse. Much greater percentages. Price go down even further. That gave me a few chuckles, so I thought I'd share it with you. It don't make no damn sense to actually be afraid here. As I record this, XRP's at 77 cents. Bitcoin at $41,798. Crypto market cap just a hair over 2 trillion, and Bitcoin dominance at 38.93%. XRP has been as low as 74 cents in the last 24 hours, and Bitcoin did get down to $40,939. Ooh, very scare. How will we sleep at night? Well, if you're me, very well, because none of this is going to matter, big picture. But look at the Crypto Fear and Greed Index. This is pure insanity. Who are these people living like this? 10 out of 100. This might be the lowest I've ever seen it. I can't remember for sure if I've seen it lower, but 10 out of 100, that indicates extreme fear for the typical retail speculator. I just can't imagine living like this. Oh my gosh, the price has gone down and I'm emotionally responding. No, that just don't make no damn sense. Don't make no damn sense to Moon Lambo. Everything's going to be okay. I mean, just even, because look, I'm thinking back. I've been in crypto over 4 years here. I was around when the market cap for the entire asset class was like 175 billion with a B. The entire asset class, 175 billion. I can't relate to this. The market's so much higher. It's volatile. It's a known factor. I'm going to talk a little bit more about volatility in just a few minutes here, but damn. Volatility's good, fine. We're not as happy when it's to the downside, but you got to take the good with the bad. And when you're trending upward forever, come on. Now, here's a tweet from, speaking of the Crypto Fear and Greed Index, here's a tweet from the Blockchain Backer, my fellow XRP YouTuber, and he wrote, "Always amazing to see sentiment flip right at the retrace levels. Fear and Greed Index equals 10, extreme fear. Just as Bitcoin reaches the 702 Fibonacci of the rally from July through November." And here's the slide that he shared with this. Interesting, is it not? I'll tell you what, Fibonacci levels are rather fascinating. There's something about human nature that just makes this concept work. There does indeed seem to be something to it. The Blockchain Backer also tweeted this out. Historically, a 42 to 43% drawdown, he's talking about Bitcoin here, is a good bounce area for Bitcoin. Many are turning bearish on Bitcoin now when the time to turn bearish was in the 60,000s. Picking the bottom for where the retracement rally can begin is difficult, but I'll take a long shot guess at it. $39,557. So that's where he thinks the bottom in all probability will be. By the way, that's not far from what he is a blockchain banker. That's not far from what Credible Crypto has been saying. Chart analyst Credible Crypto, and he says potentially could go as low as maybe $30,000, but he doesn't think that's the most probable. He's been talking about somewhere in like the $38,000 range. And then there's chart analyst Il Capo, who wrote this: "Everything points to $40,000 as the bottom, and it should happen this week. I'm really confident that the market will recover during this year and new highs will come." So, you can disagree as far as whether or not Bitcoin's in a bear market, but as far as the local low, there does seem to be a lot of consensus around analysts that I follow anyway, of roughly this $38,000 to $40,000 region being the case. And so that's three that had stated that just off the top of my head here. And then here's a separate tweet from Credible Crypto. This is actually kind of funny because people misinterpreted this and lost their ever-loving minds. And I'll admit, the way that Credible Crypto wrote it, and I'm a fan of Credible Crypto, but he wrote it in such a way that my brain did the same thing that a lot of other people's did, so he probably could have worded it a little bit differently, but I wasn't alarmed by it. But he wrote the following earlier: "If my analysis is correct, downside from," and he's talking about Bitcoin, "downside from current levels is limited to about $10,000. $10,000 max, followed by upside of over $60,000 plus in the coming months. Don't miss the forest for the trees." And I was like, wait a minute. I've never seen Bitcoin or Credible Crypto talk anything even near these levels. $10,000 Bitcoin, but that's not what he meant. My brain did the same thing too. But I wasn't flipping out. I was like, does he really think that? I was kind of surprised. But no, he clarified. He wrote this: "For those having a heart attack right now, when I said downside limited to $10,000 max, I meant from current levels, meaning $30,000 max, not $10,000 Bitcoin, LOL." That's technical invalidation of the structure, so realistically, a downside should be even less, mid to high 30,000s. And so there you go. And then there was, what did I want to? Oh yeah, chart analyst Michael Vandepop. There's an article that's covering some stuff that he said by the Daily Hodl. Widely followed crypto trader Michael Vandepop sees bullish signs for Bitcoin and one other altcoin while naming support zones for two popular smart contract platforms. I'm just going to talk about Bitcoin here, though. In a recent series of tweets, Vandepop tells his 551,000 followers that Bitcoin's price action is creating a bullish divergence. The lower time frame of Bitcoin is creating a bullish divergence while being in massive support at $41,000. If it breaks 42.8 to 42.9, a test of $46,000 is likely to happen, and then the bullish divergence plays out. And so there you go, another analyst that thinks the lows are pretty well in for just locally what's been happening in terms of price action. And so either way, it's worth repeating fairly frequently. As far as it pertains to XRP and altcoins, like the people that are in altcoins, they're the ones that should be the least concerned about this, because even if Bitcoin's in a bear market and it leads the bear market because it just leads crypto markets in general, even if Bitcoin's in a bear market, we haven't had a euphoric blow off top yet. So I won't mind seeing that. And so here, take a look at what Mark Yusko had to say about this. This is the Daily Hodl piece. The founder and chief investment officer of Morgan Creek Capital Management, Mark Yusko, is predicting a bumpy ride for Bitcoin in 2022. In a new Fox Business interview, Yusko says that the price of Bitcoin this year may behave similarly to how it has always done after a halving event. And here is a quote, and this is interesting here. Specifically talking about Bitcoin, not the altcoin market. He wrote, or said rather, "This year I do believe could be a little rocky. We have a 4-year cycle in Bitcoin around something called the halving, where the block rewards on-chain are changed, cut by half. And in the middle of that cycle, you tend to have a bear market, a consolidation period. I think we've entered that," end quote. Well, how about that? So another individual, and this guy is very high profile in the world of crypto. And so that's one of the points I wanted to make on this. I was like, assuming this is correct, so he's right, let's say he's right and the blockchain backer is correct, and they may be, they certainly may be. Okay, well, we know that market cycles are lengthening because we haven't had a blow-off top yet, but even if they're right, again, at some point, one would think this year, right, whether it's this quarter, Q1, or maybe Q2, whatever it ends up being, there's still going to be that euphoric blow-off top, unless you really believe we're going to have a whole market cycle for the first time ever where money doesn't rotate into other cryptos. And you see you have seen for over a year in particular, random altcoins here and there popping off for over a year during this euphoric Bitcoin price action, right? Okay, so humans, and again, to be clear, these altcoins, they don't do anything. There is no utility to be had. Just about as close to zero as you could possibly imagine. But still, humans are behaving the same way. They're just throwing money at these things. I don't see that humans investing in the space have reached a sufficient maturation level where utility matters to a greater degree than it had in previous cycles. So given that's the case, why the hell wouldn't there be a euphoric blow-off top for altcoins? And so that's what's next. So yeah, it's been a rough ride. Been a rough ride for anybody holding an altcoin that hasn't popped yet. Yeah, it's rough until it happens. The point is having the exposure before it happens. But so many people are just going to chase because that's how humans behave. There's over 100 years of data in the stock market showing people chasing after stocks as they start rallying. Not that they've done any deep analysis. It's just, oh my God, other people are making money. I want to make that stock money too. Blah, blah, blah. So people do that. It's the same stupid behavior in crypto. And we've got now over 13 years of Bitcoin and crypto price action showing the same human nonsense. That's exactly what's going on here. So anyway, I wanted to highlight though, because I am seeing more and more people take the stance that, yes, Bitcoin is indeed in a bear market. How about that? And now there was this tweet from on-chain analyst Willy Woo, who shared this with his 958,000 followers all up on the Twitters. And he wrote, "Unfettered volatility is Bitcoin's strength. Only fiat economists think volatility is a bad thing right up until their artificially stabilized currency breaks and all hell is let loose." And so in a general sense, I pretty well freaking agree with that. I've been saying this effectively for some time, though. I don't typically say it specifically of Bitcoin. I'm talking about volatility in crypto, including XRP. Volatility is good. Volatility is the point of investing. Think about it. If there were zero volatility in XRP or Bitcoin or stocks or whatever it is, why are you putting your money there? I mean, unless you really want to put a certain amount of money into something that literally doesn't move, okay, fine, that's fine. But if you're an investor and you want a return on your hard-earned cash, having zero volatility is very, very, very bad, okay? And you got to take the good with the bad when it comes to volatility. If it can go up, it can go down too. But you got to look at the trend. Have we been trending up as a crypto asset class despite massive pullbacks for the last 13 years? Yes, we have. And I don't think that's going to stop. And so, yes, you got to take the good with the bad. But this is why people get shaken up. So many people are not emotionally equipped to handle crypto markets. That is definitely true. You are your biggest hurdle when it comes to achieving life-changing wealth in crypto. The opportunity is there, but you are the biggest hurdle because of your emotions as a human. That's not unique to you listening to this. It's true of everyone. It's true of me. And I'm doing a great job managing my emotions. But still, that is the hurdle, which is why it's worth constantly being aware of that. Because you can, if things get bad enough, even if it's not hitting you now, it could. If things get bad enough, we've all got that point, right? Where it's super, super scare, right? That's super true. But the volatility, all of this doesn't impact me emotionally. It's the reason that I'm here. The reason that you can have life-changing wealth accumulate in a very short period of time, whether it's a year or 2 or 3 or 4 years, whatever it is, depending on how much you put in and how long you hold all that. The reason you can have life-changing wealth in a matter of years instead of decades, which is what it would take investing in the stock market, and even then it wouldn't be the same. The reason you can have life-changing wealth in years is because of the extreme volatility. It results in asymmetrical gains relative to other assets and other asset classes. This is not bad, but it does mean there's going to be some negative price action to come along with that. And so the fact that XRP was down to 11 cents in March of 2020 doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me that later that year it ran up to about 80 cents. And then the SEC jumped in and it cratered on down to 17 cents, at the end of 2020. But then it ran up to $2 in April of 2021, ran up to $2. And then it ran back down to about 50 cents some months later. And then it ran back up to somewhere close to $1.35, $1.40, something like that. And then it cratered back on down to 60 cents. And there's a bunch of other volatility for XRP in between. None of that freaking matters. If you want the upside, you have to handle the downside too. But again, volatility is the purpose of investing. And this is the reason I keep saying, this will be the asset class where people can make the most money for the next decade. It's the best opportunity. There won't even be a close second in any other asset class. It's because of the volatility. It's a very, very good thing, and people don't seem to understand that. And it's really unfortunate. I'll go ahead and wrap it there, though. I am not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the Moon Lambo.